We are going to get into Liverpool next, speaking of them, because it's not going great.
I just want to know, I don't personally think he should be sacked, of course not, but I just want to know why Liverpool are one of the biggest clubs in world football. And we saw what happened with Bayern Munich. It was super harsh what happened to Nagelsmann. Second in the table, 1 point behind Dortmund. If you're not reaching at least top 4 in like your 7th or 8th year in charge of the club with the squad you have at your helm, I know they didn't go out and make certain signings, but those players there, Mohamed Salah is still one of the best players in the world. Van Dijk still one of the best centre-backs. Alisson, arguably still one of the, if not the best keeper in the world. How are you not reaching top 4 and your head isn't being questioned for being on the chopping block? I'm not saying he should.
So what are you doing then?
What am I doing?
Is he going? No, is going to consultancy periods?
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying I would sack him. What I'm saying is, there's not even a conversation being had. No one's talking about it.
Let me add some context on what Craig's just said there, because Liverpool they've lost 9 games this season. Last season they lost 2. Bearing in mind, there's 11 games still to play for Liverpool. So they lost 2 out of 38 last season. They've lost 9 out of 27 so far. And one of the main things when I looked at the stats yesterday, they are 19th in the league in terms of big chances conceded. So every team that plays Liverpool is having a fucking field day, and that isn't something that we've seen under any Jurgen Klopp side so far. And when I watched that Man City game, I think, look, when you play Man City, you can always be susceptible to being embarrassed. And I watched your breakdown of it, mate, and I definitely want to get your take on it, because for me, there was a few things where I imagine Liverpool fans are looking at it going, how many more times are we going to watch the Trent problem, Jordan Henderson struggling positionally, and also Van Dijk not looking like the player he used to be, and also the substitutions making zero impact on the game at all. I felt like Pep really had a field day.
I think it's the good grace that we hold Jurgen Klopp in that has certainly bought him a bit of leeway this season. But Craig made some good points. I think personally the Nagelsmann sacking at Bayern, the Tuchel was available and the draw was against Manchester City in the Champions League. I think that might have played into it as well. But I can't defend it. I can't defend what happened at the Etihad. We were taken apart. We were absolutely put to the sword. We showed no stomach for the fight. We went over to Real Madrid, Brian, and we knew what we had to do. We knew we had to find 3 goals, and we didn't lay a glove on them. We didn't even look like we tried.
Yeah.
And that was the one performance for me that I was disgusted with Trent in. That performance. He just allowed Modric to ghost by him. He just didn't track inside.
In the Man City game, that third goal where City were almost in the Liverpool box, taking the piss out of them a bit. And for me, the Liverpool thing that I always really admired about Klopp is you didn't get any time to breathe. Even in midfield, you didn't get time to breathe against them, let alone when you're in their box. And the amount of passes that Man City were able to string together with Liverpool players not getting near the ball was embarrassing.
I was screaming at my television, just kick him. If you can't get the ball, just kick him. Just kick him. Do something.
Yeah.
Let him know you're there. It was too easy for them. Yeah. We just allowed them to have the way with it. And that's, as you've said, you always associate, and you'll forgive a lot as a football fan if you know the players are running through brick walls. You spoke about Newcastle. You're greater than the sum of your parts. You're a team. And that's what we have been on the Jurgen Klopp. And that midfield engine has been what's allowed the forwards to do their thing, but it isn't there anymore.
No,
we don't have those
it definitely
legs.
Isn't. There was so many moments where, you know, when Kevin De Bruyne goes through in behind Van Dijk, and Van Dijk's chasing back, and you've got 3 there, and you're looking at where's Trent AlexanderArnold. He's playing right wing.
You know what got me, man? I was looking at the end of the game. Manchester City took off Rodri, and they brought on Cole Palmer, an attacker. They're winning the game 4-1. Yeah. We're chasing the game, and we take off Cody Gakpo and bring on James Milner.
Yeah, that was
I mean, what are you supposed to do with that?
What do you make of the Trent situation? Because for me, I don't think it's a coincidence that Jack Grealish had the greatest game in a Man City shirt, directly opposing Trent AlexanderArnold.
I was speaking to Josh the other day, and I said to you, I'm petrified about Chilwell coming down that left-hand side. But what I seen of him recently.
Don't worry about Chilwell, mate.
But
honestly,
it's difficult, isn't it? Because we know what Trent's capable of going forward, and if our midfield is there and we have the cover and we're pressing like we should, Trent has a bit more freedom, he's a bit more time. But when it's not there and he's not at it, you don't want to criticise him. And I've heard that there could be a personal issue that could be part of the reason behind his dip. But ultimately, I wonder, and I want to ask this question to the guys at the table, if he wasn't Scouse, would he be getting as much leeway, do you think?
You can't ask me. Trent is my guy. That's actually me and Trent talk. That's my boy. So all I will say is this, without trying to be biased. I think what you said is right. I just think once the system, Klopp's system's not working the way it needs to work, someone like Trent is going to come even more under the magnifying glass. Okay, we have to be honest, maybe he hasn't been at his best this season, but there are a lot of players in the Liverpool side that have not been at their best. And I just think...
He's been the worst, though. I'm sorry, I actually think Trent has been the worst in
No, but then I seen Liverpool fans, and they were saying it yesterday, all this talk about Trent, but no one's talking about Robertson. And apparently Robertson hasn't been that great this season.
I can tell you why Liverpool fans are annoyed at Trent. It's because of the way he carries himself on the pitch. He's a very laid-back dude, clearly, but it doesn't come across like he cares at times.
Yeah, but it never used to be like that. And I think look, this is what I'm seeing, and I could be wrong. You know Liverpool better than me. I saw similarities at the end of the Pochettino saga as well, where the players looked burnt out. They were playing a certain system which required under Pochettino, press, do all this. And as the players age, which is happening at Liverpool, Van Dijk's, 30, 31, Mo Salah's a similar age, Firmino's about to go, Mane's left. You're seeing players age now, and I just think there's only one of two options where this is going to go, in my opinion. You either change the manager and take a new approach, or you have to get rid of a lot of players that are maybe burnt out under this current system. I don't think you're going to see Liverpool with that core set of players that they've had for the last 5 years reach those levels again. That's my personal opinion.
I think there's some really good points there, mate, in terms of like a manager who repeats the same message to the same group of players for too long. And we've seen that like you do need to change enough players to keep it fresh.
It's like Arsene Wenger, isn't it?
Yeah, and also Fergie had a great way of doing that. He changed the assistant manager constantly so that he had someone underneath him who was constantly giving a new message. But what I will say about Trent that is interesting is he seems to have a very confident attitude about himself, and he feels himself a little bit. And as you should, you've been you've had an amazing career, and you're a young lad, and you've killed it for your hometown. But equally, like when you see him not applying himself or not focusing or tracking back the way he should as a right back, it's very confusing and frustrating when earlier in his career he was doing those things.
No one has to agree with me, but I honestly believe that last season was the climax. It was almost like the final piece of the puzzle for Klopp, and that core set of players was the quadruple. That was like the dream. If we can achieve this, we're immortal. And I think they worked so hard towards that, gave everything in terms of their fitness, focus. It's a draining thing to try and complete. And then when you end the season with, respectfully, I can't turn my nose up at these. I'd have them all day of the week. But a League Cup and an FA Cup, both on penalties against Chelsea, who are like semi in turmoil. It kind of was like, it was an anti-climax. It was a bit of a drab. And the players are like, whoa, we've been battling this Man City team for the last 4 or 5 years. We won one title out of that. We got like 90 points here, 90-something points here. We got a Champions League call against Spurs. And you're looking at it over, how long has he been there now? 7 years?
Yeah.
And you're looking at it and you go, okay, he's got 2 big major trophies, or 4 if you include the FA Cup and League Cup, but the Champions League and the Premier League. And those players are looking around going, flipping now, like this is what we have to show for it. We haven't actually dominated, but we've put in the work which should have dominated. And I think a lot of them are just burnt out now.
Arsenal have been inconsistent or very slowly improving by comparison. Liverpool had 5 years of perfection and only got 1 Premier League title out of it. Does Arsenal potentially, if this should happen, winning the title this season, devalue the achievements of Jurgen Klopp?
I'm going to say no, because of the consistency that we spoke about of points tallies and how many other years would we have won it. You say what you said there about why we haven't won stuff. I think of the cheating bastards in Manchester the reason why we haven't won stuff. So for me, I think we've been really unlucky of the cycle we've been in, again, who we've been up against. But look, it's going to haunt me if Jurgen Klopp leaves the club and he doesn't have the trophies that we feel like the era should have had.
But do you not reckon that this Liverpool team would be forgotten when it comes down to, because no one cares about, no one remembers the context. In 10 to 15 years, no one's going to look back and remember, oh yeah, that team who came second, oh, they pushed them all the way, they got 92 points, 97 points, whatever it was. They'll look back and see 1 Premier League title, which is as many as...
1 Premier League title, 1 European Cup, an FA Cup, a League Cup, a Club World Cup.
It's good, but I don't think it will be...
Super Cup.
Listen, Greg.
It wasn't dominant. Listen, Greg,
I'm not coming after this Liverpool team because the Liverpool team has been unbelievable. One of the best teams I've ever seen in my entire life, but they haven't got the trophies that they deserve. Do you know what I mean?
Why haven't we got those trophies is the question.
Because of the genius of Pep Guardiola. No one's having
that. And the very creative accountants at Manchester City.
And that's what makes it hurt. That's what makes it really hurt, is because this has been a special group. And you've made some good points. You've made some good points, Michael. But I won't forget because they've given me the best years of my life supporting the football club.
Sometimes at a club, things reach an expiration date for whatever reason. Some people might not agree. They might think he can revive this Liverpool team. But I just think Arsenal are here now. It pains my heart, but Arteta's built something there.
I feel that.
He's built something there, and they've arrived now. And Klopp, it just feels like that Liverpool team's kind of coming to the end. A lot of those players, Van Dijk and Mo Salah going to be at the top of their game in 2 seasons from now? But a rebuild's going to have to start like very soon. And how long's Klopp going to be committed to that rebuild?
You want to start off and have a complete new manager as well as a rebuild. Trust me, mate, the grass isn't always green.
Yeah, but they're trying to sell. Yeah, I know, but they're trying to sell the club anyway. So that's going to probably happen regardless. Like
you mentioned Van Dijk though, Mitch. Craig, what is the crack with Van Dijk? Because he didn't look good in that game yesterday.
He wasn't. And I love Virgil van Dijk. He's been an incredible player for Liverpool. But since he's come back this season, and he spoke about it weighing heavy on him, the leadership. He spoke about it with the Netherlands as well. But he hasn't looked anywhere near the player that he was. And anybody who's critical of his performances, I think they've got a valid point.
Do you think, Craig, that Van Dijk was overrated at some point? When everyone was going on about him being the greatest Premier League defender of all time, some were saying, Michael Owen said the greatest defender of all time, best centre-back. Do you think there was a bit of hyperbole there?
There always is, but we're supposed to do that, aren't we? We're football fans. We're supposed to get carried away. What I can say is he's the greatest centre-back I've seen in a Liverpool shirt in my lifetime.
Do you know what? I think...
It's not really that.
Do you think this injury is the reason he just can't quite get back to the level?
Do you know, again, we spoke about Trent and the attitude. It's the same. You want Virgil to get dirty sometimes. You want him to throw himself to the ground to put a block in. You want him to stop just trying to be Mr. Cool.
I watched your highlight reaction, so I was like, throw yourself at him! And I felt that, because when I was watching it, I'm like, I ain't even a Liverpool fan. I'm wondering why they're just starting watching these guys, admiring them. It was horrendous.
To me, he is top 2 Premier League ever.
No.
He's 2.
No,
he's number 2. I give number 1 to Rio.
I agree with
I'll
that.
give it to Rio, and then I'll give him number 2.
You hate to see it.
Why? A year ago, or even a year and a half ago, that was not outrageous to say. In fact, people were saying that. Now, this is the thing about football. People got goldfish memories, very short term. Now, when you have a bad run of form, it's like, he was never that good.
I don't think people have long-term memories enough, because John Terry won 5 Premier League titles, all as captain, and Van Dijk's won 1.
Yeah, but John Terry was
again, you're measuring trophies against, and you're measuring a group against a single individual. Like
I get that. But I don't remember John Terry.
John Terry was never a better defender.
I don't remember
Van Dijk.
I don't remember John Terry going through such.
Never a better defender than Van Dijk.
You just started.
Let's not get this twisted, right? John Terry's a disliked person for various reasons.
No, he's a piece of shit.
Right?
Let's have it right.
For various reasons. Let's not get it twisted that he was one of the best defenders in the Premier League.
I never said he was. I never said he wasn't.
And he would
when did I say he wasn't? He's top 5. He's top 5.
He's been nominated for the Ballon d'Or.
He's top 5.
And John Terry sure as I wasn't playing for Southampton at 26. I mean,
what's that got to do with anything?
Hey,
I'm saying when you forget the achievements and accolades for a second, right? When you look just at the ability and the attributes of him and Van Dijk, for me, Van Dijk trumps him in most areas. The only area that Terry maybe takes him in is leadership and heart.
When a defender loses his pace or his pace decreases, you really find out like how much he relied on his body and how good of a clever defender he is at reading the game. Tony Adams was great at that when his legs slowed down. John Terry aged better than Rio Ferdinand did. I can't even if you look at Rio Ferdinand at 34 playing for QPR getting relegated, John Terry winning a league title at the same age. I think.
I always struggle with like current players being in like best Premier League 11.
Do you know who we haven't mentioned?
Go on.
Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
As a centre-back.
He won 4 Premier League titles.
Absolutely top-notch.
Van Dijk, I would say, has had 3 world-class seasons in his life. Last season, 18-19, 19-20, and then... Actually, with last season, you'll tell me better than this, Craig. Was the first half of last season, was he a bit sloppy coming back from injury then? Or did he come back?
He was better than he's been this season.
Yeah?
Yeah. Again, you always wonder, will he trust his body? Will he be able to put the pressure? Will he be able to turn the afterburners on? Like you looked at him in a foot race when we played Salzburg and Haaland was there. First minute of the game, he had Haaland on toast for speed. Never would have thought that.
The Van Dijk disrespect. The Van Dijk disrespect. I cannot believe this. He just has a one bad season, and all of a sudden it's
I'm with you.
He can't even be compared to John Terry now.
Is he another one of your mates?
Mate.
Do you have him watch that?